Okay, and thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you for talking to us about your ideas and about just how important retirement security is to all of you. For those watching the stream and the media that are here and have tuned in, my name is Shannon Phillips. I'm the NDP finance critic. I'm the MLA for Lethbridge West. And I'm joined here today by fellow pension rights crusader and colleague Christina Gray, who is our labor critic and MLA for Edmonton Millwoods, and of course our leader, Rachel Notley. We are gathered here today on traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I also want to recognize the Métis people and the deep connection they share with this land. We're here today to release our latest set of proposals as part of our Alberta's Future project through a paper called Your Pension is Yours, Protecting Albertans' Retirement. I'm proud of the work we've done to pull this together, and I'm so keen to hear feedback from Albertans. Here's one thing I know about the people of this province. They work hard. From the pipeline technician who heads out in -40, to the teacher who burns the midnight oil to plan the next day's lessons. Albertans keep our economy moving, and they create a province in which the next generation of leaders and innovators can thrive. So Albertans deserve to know their retirement is secure. Now, a pension is the cornerstone of a secure retirement, but for many Albertans, they're getting further and further out of reach. Faced with rising costs and an uncertain jobs economy, it's often retirement savings that are the first to go. And then we have the endless political games being played with the pensions by Danielle Smith and the UCP. Those political games are creating an environment of uncertainty, making it hard to attract and retain a skilled workforce. But an Alberta NDP government will take a different approach, a better approach. And to get into those details, I'll now turn things over to our labor critic, MLA Christina Gray.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you everyone for joining us here today. Trust is at the heart of a healthy democracy, and the last 4 years have not been good for Albertans' trust in their government. With no mandate and no consultation, the UCP dramatically restructured public pension governance, removing the ability of public sector pension plans to leave AIMCO and affecting the retirement security of hundreds of thousands of Albertans. Pension investments are not political toys. They are not about any one government's political priorities. They are about Albertans' retirement security. An Alberta NDP government would put your retirement security at the center of our pension policies. And that's why I'm so excited to join Rachel, Shannon, and these amazing Calgarians to release this critically important proposals today. So I'm going to turn things over to Rachel Notley.
Well, thank you, Christina and Shannon. And thanks to all of you right here for joining us and talking about the importance of retirement security. Retirement is supposed to be a special time where Albertans who've worked so hard can spend more time with their families and their loved ones, see new places, and reflect on a life well lived and continuing to be well lived. But it can also bring anxiety and financial stress. And that stress has been taken to new heights with the policies of this UCP. Seemingly from day one, the current government sought to hijack public pensions and mused about pulling out of the Canada Pension, despite widespread polling showing everyday Albertans and businesses alike don't support that kind of dangerous move. An Alberta NDP government, if elected in May, will put a stop to all of this because we recognize that your pension is yours. It doesn't belong to me, and it certainly doesn't belong to Danielle Smith. And that is why the first of the 3 proposals that you will find in our new Alberta's Future paper is the simplest. We will stay in the Canada Pension Plan. The CPP is the envy of the world, renowned for its management, sophistication, and reliability. The CPP is the quintessential example of Canadian federalism that is working well. Remaining in the CPP will save hundreds of millions of dollars that Danielle Smith would be forced to spend to start up and operate an Alberta-based pension plan. And so we will legislate staying in the CPP and preventing any Alberta government from leaving the plan. Now, let me take a moment to explain why this is so important. Right now, it's extremely hard to change CPP benefit levels or the age at which you begin to collect that pension. The CPP is unique. Changing CPP is actually harder than changing the Canadian Constitution, and I mean that literally. In order to change CPP, you need the consent of 7 provinces representing 2/3 of the population. That means any change to CPP is immune from rogue political risk. But if Danielle Smith gets her way, political risk skyrockets. Smith and her UCP cabinet could change benefit levels or the retirement age in one cabinet meeting behind closed doors. That is an unacceptable level of risk for Albertans when their retirement security is what's at stake. Now, you'll also see that we have proposed bringing back joint governance for public sector pension plans, ensuring those investments in their retirement have a voice. Likewise, public sector pension plans will be given representation on the AIMCO board. And if investment performance in the long run is not satisfactory at our Crown Investment Manager, we will allow those plans to leave. And I know this will be important for Alberta's teachers and many other hardworking public servants, from janitors to firefighters to your rural county clerk. These 2 proposals serve to undo the damage already caused by the UCP and the potential damage Danielle Smith may seek to cause in the future. But we also propose going further. We want to expand private sector workplace pensions. So we propose creating a task force to develop a model for allowing the private sector to voluntarily establish their own workplace pensions using Alberta Pension Services as the administrator and AIMCO as the investment manager. AIMCO and APS are tools we've used to help establish world-class public sector pensions. Now is the time to release those tools to the private sector and to do the same, and through them, all Albertans. In consultations, we've heard from so many organizations who want to deliver workplace pensions but are just too small to establish them properly themselves. Alberta Pension Services currently has more than 500 employers, and they support 384,951 Alberta pensioners. The cost to service and facilitate a pension at APS is about $175 per person. In order to encourage and expand private sector pensions, we propose that the government cover that per employee administrative cost for any employer who signs up. Initially, we propose a defined contribution pension model for this new expansion of private sector plans. This dramatically reduces risk and significantly would increase the likelihood of participation. Therefore, the only cost to business or nonprofit would be the actual money that they directly invest for their employees' retirement, along that invested by the employee themselves. No overhead or administrative costs and very little long-term risk. So, if we could expand private sector pensions through this model to, say, 100,000 more Alberta workers, it would cost the government about $17.5 million. But it would be utterly transformative for the retirement security of so many Albertans. And it would help employers attract and retain workers at a time where we're hearing this is a huge challenge for our job creators. So this is a good idea to explore, and that's why we are excited to engage in consultation with job creators, with employers across this province to come up with the specifics. At the same time that we talk about this, we also know that defined benefit pensions are still kind of the holy grail of pensions. And so we'll continue to examine additional ways that we can extend those kinds of pensions into the nonprofit and for-profit sector. So those are all our proposals. 1, we will protect Albertans' CPP. 2, we'll return control of their pensions to Albertans. And 3, we will work to expand pensions to as many Albertans as possible. This is about protecting the retirement security of Albertans like those gathered here with me today. And we believe that protection is critical to building a better future for all Albertans. So thank you so much. And I'll now turn things over to Jean Stewart, who's going to say just a few words, and then we'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I'm a daughter of a pioneer family. my family ranched on the road to the Klondike, and our families in the rural parts of Alberta have struggled. Since the Canada Pension Plan was introduced in 1966, my father and his brothers and sisters had a kind of security that they never had before. We are frightened and deeply worried that Danielle Smith can manipulate and take away our pension rights. I'm also a teacher, and I know that Danielle Smith had a go, as did her party, at taking over our teachers' pension plan. We need security, and we've paid for it. It's our money. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. And I believe we are happy to take any questions folks may have.
Yeah, we will start with folks in the room, but if you are joining us over Zoom, you can use the raise hand function to join the question queue, or you can press *9 on your telephone keypad. That's the raise hand function on Zoom, or *9 on your telephone keypad. We'll start with questions in the room. Just introduce your outlet and say your name.
Yes, hello. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil with Radio-Canada. So just wondering, could you summarize everything, so everything really that this encompasses, because of course this is just, this is a big announcement, this is a big stance that you're taking, and so just for our audience, if you could put this all together to give us really a concise idea of exactly what this would include.
So there's basically three components to our announcement today. First of all, we will legislate that Alberta will stay in the CPP, and we will not allow for it to be used as a political pawn in the future, and the retirement security of folks who rely on it so much in the future. Secondly, we will undo the changes made by the UCP, which takes agency away from pensioners in running their own pension plans. So the pension plans that already exist will go back to a joint governance model that we'd had in place before. And then thirdly, we will establish a task force to look at ways in which we can expand access to pensions to more Albertans who work in the private sector, initially through defined contribution plans, and ultimately we hope to being able to expand defined benefit. But the idea is at the starting point that we'd like to leverage the expertise of the Alberta Pension Service as an administrator and AIMCO as an investor, and provide those opportunities to Albertans who voluntarily choose to access them. And we see that as a really important way to help job creators attract and keep more employees here in Alberta.
Follow-up?
Could you expand on what this task force would look like, and what kind of resources would be utilized to put this concretely into action?
Well, at this point, we haven't put together a budget for the task force per se, but the idea is that we would get some folks who are experts in the area that enjoy the trust of employers as well as working folks, and we would have them go around and consult with people across the province, and as well as additional pension experts around what it could look like. Understanding again that we've seen this kind of model developed and started to expand in Ontario, and it's also being considered in BC. And it is something that we have the potential to really add value and incentive to the whole issue of providing longer-term retirement security through the good work of Alberta Pension Service and AIMCO. Not jeopardizing either of them, but just expanding on the capacity that they have. And so we know, ultimately, that retirement security matters to folks. And of course, it starts to matter more and more the older you get and the closer you get to retirement. But a lot of young people see it now too, and understand that they need to have some idea for how they're going to retire in the future. And so this is an opportunity and a plan to expand those opportunities to folks, because we know that that we're going in the wrong direction right now, that people are having less savings and less opportunity to save for the future. And that's not good for our economy in the long term.
Okay, I'll just check with the same question. Christina? Just remind folks joining us via Zoom, use the raise hand function or press star 9 on your telephone keypad. We'll come back to Radio Canada.
Did you want something in French from Shannon?
If we could have something in French, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, okay.
Alors, ce que nous avons annoncé aujourd'hui, c'est un plan pour protéger la retraite pour tous les Albertains, pour faire certain que nous sommes toujours dans notre plan national pour notre plan pour le CPP et aussi avoir un peu de plan, on va étudier comment avoir une retraite plus durable pour les gens qui n'ont pas une pension maintenant. Et aussi, on va reculer les changements que les conservateurs ont fait aux pensions publiques pour les travailleurs, comme par exemple les professeurs à l'école, dans notre système d'éducation, puis aussi les autres services publics.
Si vous êtes confortable, est-ce que je pourrais vous demander en français encore une fois?
On va essayer.
De quelle manière est-ce que vous allez inclure vraiment les voix des personnes qui sont déjà, peut-être qui sont déjà rendues à ce point-ci dans leur vie, bon, qu'ils sont sur leur pension, ou ceux qui s'approchent de prendre leur retraite? Donc, comment est-ce que vous avez un système de consultation ou j'aimerais juste en savoir plus?
Alors, en ce qui concerne le CPP, là, on va donner une garantie que ces bénéfices-là vont être là, ces pensions vont être là pour les Albertains. Et en même temps, on va faire ces garanties-là pour nos pensions publiques. Nous allons étudier les questions d'avoir un système de retraite et de pension qui est plus durable, qui est volontaire pour le secteur privé et hors de profit, pour qu'on puisse avoir cette retraite plus durable, hors de la pauvreté pour la majorité d'Albertains. Parce que maintenant, nous voyons que de plus en plus, les Albertains n'ont pas accès à ces pensions-là. Alors, on va reverser ces trends-là et puis on va avoir on va étudier la question.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, that will conclude today's news conference. Thank you very much, everyone. For our Albertans, stick around for a conversation with Rachel, Shannon, and Christina. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Watching, and to learn more, check out albertasfuture.ca.